everybody, I wanted to make a video because Sgt. Pepper, the new box set, is coming out this Friday, which is in 4 days, and I can't tell you how excited I am about it. I've already listened online to, they released, I think, like two of the outtakes from it. One was just Sgt. Pepper, I think it's just like the backing track, which sounded awesome, and then they released Lucy in the Sky, take one, amazing. And it's got me really, really, really pumped up. So, thought I'd make a video showing you my Sgt. Pepper vinyl collection. And I have quite a few. I'm surprised at how many I have, actually. Didn't realize I had so many. They're all essential though, right? You need to have multiple copies of Sgt. Pepper. You don't really, but anyway, I'm gonna run down here my collection and just kind of get myself, maybe you too, get us excited for the Sgt. Pepper box set. Even more excited, because I know we're already excited, but get us even more excited for the box set coming out on Friday. So here we go. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 9 different pressings of Sgt. Pepper. So I'll try to go in the order here of the oldest one I have. So I believe that's going to be these ones. And we'll start with, this is my mono copy. Yes, it is. I think this is my mono copy. Let me check here. Yes, okay, so, and I have 2 mono copies. I'll put these here for now. So, Sgt. Pepper was released in 1967, as I'm sure a lot of you know, and these 2 are both US mono pressings, and they're pretty much identical, although I think this one is probably in better shape than this one. But if you remember right, I think this is the one that I got at the thrift store find a couple weeks ago, so can't go wrong with that. But Sgt. Pepper in mono, I love the mono mix of Pepper. Although I think now with this new remastered stereo mix that Giles Martin put together, maybe I'll like that one too. But as far as, for me, I think my favorite way to listen to Pepper is in mono. Although this isn't my favorite pressing, I will come to my favorite pressing of Pepper. So anyway, this is the US mono. I won't show you the other one because it's identical. But I will show you the record. So, comes on the Capital Rainbow label, of course. And the difference between the US pressings of Pepper and the British pressings of Pepper are that the US version doesn't have the little thing at the end, the backwards thing in the run-out groove, where it sounds like they're saying like, never could see any other way, dun, 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 dun. That thing doesn't exist on the American pressings. I don't know about the Canadian pressings. I don't have any Canadian pressings of Sgt. Pepper, but I bet Fit to be Tie-Dyed, Paul, he probably knows the answer to that, so look down in the comments. I'm sure he will comment on that. So these are my 2 US mono pressings of Pepper. Then, of course, there is the stereo, US stereo pressing of Sgt. Pepper, and you can tell because it's got the yellow stereo thing along there. And the stereo also does not have the run-out groove backwards little message there. And of course, there's a difference between the mono and stereo. There's a bunch of differences, but like the main ones is obviously the song "She's Leaving Home." The mono version is, I believe, it's a little bit faster, and then the stereo version is a little bit slower. So I think that's right. I may have those reversed, but I think that's right. But here is the stereo, or my US stereo pressing. And as you can see, let me get a little closer here. The writing is a little bit thicker. The gray writing where it says the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. It's a little bit thicker than the mono. Well, this pressing in particular is thicker. I don't know if that is true for all stereo pressings. But I really do love the mono and the stereo, although I think I prefer the mono. So there is my US stereo Sgt. Pepper, and both these monos and stereos are original pressings from '67. I don't know if they're first pressings or not. I doubt they're first pressings, but they are definitely from '67, 68, around there. Okay, then moving on, I have here, we'll go with this one next. This is is this correct? I think this is correct. Sorry, I gotta do a little homework here. This is a British stereo pressing of Sgt. Pepper, and I believe this is a 70s pressing that came from the blue box, or would have been in the blue box. You got it on the EMI Parlophone label. This is side 1, and it's got the 2 EMI boxes. Got the one up here and the one down there, which places it around, I think that's like late 70s, early 80s. I love this pressing though. You can't go wrong with the blue box pressings, in my opinion. Almost all of them sound really, really good, and I really, really like them. If you only bought the blue box Beatle albums on vinyl, you would be set. You'd have great pressings. So anyway, this is a stereo from the late 70s, which I love, and I'll show you the gatefold again because it always looks cool. Look at the gatefold of Sgt. Pepper. Okay, now moving on, I have here, this is a French pressing of Sgt. Pepper, and this is from 1978. And this is again a stereo pressing on the Odeon label, as you can see right there. And this one has, up in the upper left-hand corner here, it's got this little bit of numbers and letters there. And again, I'll show you the gatefold because it looks so cool. Yeah. And then the actual record looks like this. It's on the Apple label. And there's side 2. And it's got this little box on here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show up on this or not. Oh, well, cool. A little box right there that says SACEM. I don't know what that means, but it looks similar to, on a lot of the German pressings, you know, that'll have the GEMA box. I guess, to me, that always signifies that it's a German pressing. But this French stereo pressing, it came from a French box set, and it sounds pretty good, although I feel like it does kind of lack something. I can't actually quite remember what I said in my video, but go back a couple videos, and this is one of the Beatle finds, and I think I said it lacked something, but still really fun to have this, and can't have enough Sgt. Pepper. So that is the French stereo pressing. Then I have, okay, here we go. I have 2 of my favorite pressings and my ultimate favorite pressing. These are both stereo, and they're both on the Capitol label. And I'll save my favorite pressing for the second one I'll show you here. This is a pressing that was, I think I showed this not too long ago. I got this, it was in the shrink wrap, and it comes from 1995 when they released the anthologies. And it was mastered by one of my favorite guys, Wally, who did a lot of the Capitol Purple label masterings. And this sounds excellent. This is my second favorite pressing of Sgt. Pepper. And there is side 2. So but the thing about this pressing is that it was pressed from digital sources. So when they released the Beatles CDs in the late 80s, they just used those masters for the pressing, for the source of this pressing. Still sounds great, in my opinion. I think it's really, really great. But it doesn't come from that all analog source, which is, you know, a bit of a drag if you want just that straight, pure analog sound. It has barcode, which lets you know it's from the 90s. And then, although I guess they had barcodes in the 80s as well, but then you got, this one's interesting because it has 3 of the label signs on here. We got Capital, Parlophone, and Apple all together, which, as I think I noted before, is kind of unique. I think that only happened on these 1995 Beatle reissues. So that's Sgt. Pepper, Capital Purple label. And then my favorite Sgt. Pepper pressing, as of now, is this Capital stereo. Also, purple label. And this is mastered by Jay LeMay, whoever that is, but he did a fantastic job. Again, purple label. Now, the reason this one's so great, in my opinion, is the bass is fantastic. A lot of the Sgt. Pepper pressings I've heard kind of lacks low end for me. And Pepper, to me, is one of the best albums of all time for bass lines. Paul McCartney was absolutely at the top of his game. His bass lines were so melodic. I mean, just listening to Little Help from My Friends, the bass line alone, it's so melodic, so fantastic. It like propels that song the whole time. Also, if you listen to like Getting Better, bass line on that, he's going absolutely crazy, just going all these trills, and it's so good. And the sound of the bass, the way it was recorded, is just top notch. Like when my band goes in the studio, the last time we just recorded our second album, we were recording, I think I made about 2 or 3 references to the Sgt. Pepper bass sound. That was the sound we were trying to get. It's so iconic. And so how did I originally get on this? Oh, so I'm saying that it's kind of ironic that a lot of the pressings of Pepper kind of lack bass. This one does not. This Capital, mastered by Jay LeMay, it sounds so great. And I believe this is I think this is an maybe a late 70s, early 80s pressing. It's when they did the Capital Purple label first was introduced. So I really, really like this. This is one of my treasured pieces. So for me, when I listen to Pepper, this is the one I go to. Even though I like the mono mix more, as far as my favorite pressings, this is the one I go to, this stereo. Capital, mastered by Jay LeMay. So, my favorite. Now, on to the 2 modern pressings of Pepper. First off, you get, well, I guess this one came out first, so we'll do this in the order that it came out. This is the stereo remaster from 2009, although this is 2012 when this vinyl came out. It looks beautiful. I love it's just the colors are so vibrant. And then you get, of course, very glossy gatefold. And then there's the back. Now, I think these stereo remasters from 2009, they sound great. A lot of people don't like them, and they've got their reasons, but I think they're excellent. They really, really did a really great job, I think. There's the Parlophone label. There's side 2, and you get the heavy vinyl, 180 gram, which I think is cool. I appreciate it, although there are people who say there's really no point in that, other than I guess it definitely does keep it from warping. And then this is probably a good time to show, because they give you this nice reproduction as a little extra, the original inner sleeve from Pepper, which was designed by the art group The Fool. They were friends with the Beatles at this time, around the time of '67. And originally they were supposed to design the inner gatefold sleeve, and it was like a real psychedelic painting. I've actually seen it before. I can't quite remember. I think it had like castles, and it was very trippy. But Paul McCartney's friend, Robert Freeman, or I think that was his name. Yeah, Robert Freeman, or Robert Fraser. Robert Fraser, who kind of coordinated the whole Pepper album artwork. He said to Paul about the Fool original gatefold sleeve, he said, like, that's not good art. It's not good. I'm not gonna let you do that. And Paul said, well, hold on a second, it's our album and that's what we want to do. And I guess this guy Robert was so adamant about it. He was like, no, you can't do it. It's not good art. And he convinced Paul and the rest of the Beatles to use one of these photos taken by Michael Cooper, who did the cover shoot and everything with Peter Blake. Convinced them to use this instead, and they did. And of course, this is iconic and was the right choice in my opinion. But it's just kind of funny how he kind of stuck his neck out and said, like, no, you can't do that. And the Beatles, to their credit, listened to him. And yeah, there you go. So this is the stereo remaster from 2012. This is released, although it's from the 2009 masters. All digital. Then I think they listened to the public and said, okay, there are some people who want just the straight analog, how it sounded before, and they did their best to do that with the 2014, I believe this was when this came out, mono remasters. And as you can tell, this is more like all the rest of the Pepper covers, where it's not as vibrant. It's more of that like muted, almost like gray filter over it cover, which is still very cool. And you get the back. And this is reproduced exactly as an original UK mono pressing. Everything from the back here, even has no mention of 2014 remaster or anything like that. It's all just original, which I think is great. Oh, and then I placed in here, this didn't come with it originally, but my friend Casey gave me this. It's just like a little poster, I guess, that probably came out around the time of those Capitol Purple Label remasters when they came out in the like 80s. He gave this to me a while ago. So, extra Pepper. But like I said, didn't come with this at all. But this is cool because you get this and you get the flaps. The flap downs that indicate that it's mono. At least to me that indicates it's mono. And then you get the actual vinyl itself, which again is on the Parlophone label. There you go. And then side 2. And of course the British versions do have the run-out groove with the backwards message in there, which is very cool. And this, for me, if I'm going to listen to it in mono, this is the pressing I go to. I have two, as I just showed you at the beginning of the video. I have two of the American mono pressings, but the British one for me, and this remaster specifically, is the way to go. Fantastic bass, low end, great depth. They really did a fantastic job on these mono remasters. There are even people who still complain about these and say they aren't very good, but I don't know what they're hearing or what they're seeing in the sense of the packaging and stuff. For me, this is A+, great. In fact, this is my second favorite pressing to listen to for Pepper. So, if you're following along here and you care, as far as my favorite pressings of Pepper at this date, May 23rd, 2017, my number one is the J. LeMay Capitol Purple Label stereo pressing from the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And my second favorite is the mono remaster from 2014. These are the two I go to, and I listen to this album a lot. This album always has from the day I listened to it back when I was like maybe 11 or 12 years old. I think it's the first time I ever owned it on CD. It fascinated me because I'd seen this iconic picture. I'd heard people talk about it. My dad would talk about it. Just always has fascinated me, Sgt. Pepper. And the Beatles in general always fascinated me, of course, but specifically this album. It's not my favorite Beatle album. I love it to death. It's definitely in my top 4 Beatle albums. I can't do it though. I can't do the top Beatle anything. I like it all. I like all the Beatles stuff. Even the worst of the Let It Be Get Back sessions that sound like they were recorded with the door closed, microphone in the other room, people walking across. I can listen to that stuff too. It fascinates me. But Pepper, I do love, and it's such an interesting record. And you can just tell the care that was put into this album, from the 4 Beatles themselves to the production team of George Martin and Jeff Emmerich, the engineer. They really took the time to make a fantastic record that really did change the world. When this came out, and by the way, I'm in my 30s, so I was not there when this was released originally. But from what I've read, what I've heard from other people, when this came out, it changed so much. First albums to ever have lyrics written out on the back, that was huge at the time. Also, the first album to ever actually put a lot of time and money into the actual packaging. I think they spent like I might be wrong with this amount, but like £700 or something like that to make, just for the shoot of this, just for the photo. And I think that was at a time when like normally it would be like £10 or something to do just a photo shoot by Diesel Hoffman or whatever for Please Please Me. I think it was like £10. Cost so little. Then it was £700 just to do this shoot. So it really just changed so much. And first time ever to have songs linked together as, there was no space between the tracks. They just would go one after the other. It was the first time on this record. First time they ever, even though a lot of people say it's not really a concept album because after the opening song and Little Help from My Friends, it really, and then the reprise, of course, but it really it's not really all just one concept. But the idea that the Beatles were this Sgt. Pepper band and all these songs were part of the show, I mean, that to me sticks. That worked for me and still makes sense. So I guess I'm kind of rambling now. But anyway, I'm just trying to explain or express my love of this album and what it means to me and what I think it means to a lot of other people. It just was a major game changer, and saying all that and showing you all my Sgt. Pepper albums now has got me really pumped up for Friday and the box set, because we're going to get to hear all those outtakes that no one's ever heard. I'm really looking forward to the remixed album because I think it's going to be really, really great. Giles Martin has not failed at all when it comes to his work with the Beatles, new Beatles product. I loved his work on Love. Thought that was fantastic. He did an excellent job on the remixes of the One album in 2015. He did a great, great job on Live at the Hollywood Bowl that came out just this last year. So for me, he's top notch. He's a great, great producer and engineer, and continuing the work that his dad did. And I think that he's the only person who could do this, and he's doing a great job. So I look forward to the box set. Anyway, that's it for now. I know we're already this is a long video, but it was important to celebrate Sgt. Pepper and his Lonely Hearts Club Band. So I'll be making another video this Friday when the box set comes. Fingers crossed, of course, because hopefully it gets here on time and I can show you the box. So that's it for now, and it was 20 years ago today, folks. Really, it was 50 years ago today. So that's it for now. Okay, over and out. Never could see any other way.